posting this late. Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I got another Saturday Night Live review for you. As soon as it premiered on NBC, and this one will probably be an easy one to review. This one is John Mulaney, that's how you pronounce his name, hosting Saturday Night Live. Now, the first is what they call the cold open, and it's a political thing about Michael Cohen and him being interrogated. And Michael Cohen in this one, the only really noticeable thing about the opening of this, Michael Cohen was played by Ben Stiller, and then the guy interrogating him, giving a lie detector test, was played by Robert De Niro. And the only they gave a couple of reference jokes to Meet the Parents and the whole series, including the last name of the family. It's almost like a swear word. That was really the only really noticeable thing in this one, except for the appearance of the two famous actors. So I give that a 3 out of 10. The next was monologue on John Mulaney, and they said that he's the name sounded familiar, and they said that he's a stand-up comedian. He has Netflix specials, and also he's most famous for being a writer on Saturday Night Live for 5 years. And he said that at the beginning of his monologue. His delivery was very good. I mean, it wasn't really funny. I give that 2.5 out of 10. Next one was a restaurant thing with him as a drag queen, and he was talking trash to the people that he was serving and stuff. And then one guy he was giving some real dark stuff to. That wasn't funny at all. It was absolutely pointless. That was a 1 out of 10. Not funny at all. Next, they had they did a spoof about the school walkout from that one shooting and stuff like that. That was pointless too. That wasn't funny at all. That was a 1 out of 10. Next, they did a commercial spoof of a documentary on Netflix about one cult leader of religion back in the 60s, and it was actually pointless. It was constructed well, but it was pointless, and I give that 1.5 out of 10. Next was another restaurant skit. They just had one. This was Big Nick's Greek Diner. And one guy orders a lobster special. So why are you ordering lobster at a diner? And then they have a big musical number with Keaton Thompson dressed as a lobster, saying, no one's ever ordered lobster here. And they did a big production. Their commitment was great. It was just lame and not funny at all. I don't mind silly humor, but this wasn't funny and just lame. And I'll give it, for the production number, I'll give it 1.5 out of 10. They committed to it, but with no payoff, it was lousy. Next was a musical guest, and the musical guest was none other than Jack White from the White Stripes, and that was fantastic. That was it rocked. It was a very good segment. That was a 9 out of 10 musical guest. Next was Weekend Update. Weekend Update was pretty decent. They had a couple times I laughed, and then they had Keaton Thompson doing LeVar Ball again, and that's always funny, because that's silly, but funny. And I give that a 7 out of 10. Next was Hollywood Update, and actually that was funny. I really liked that one. That was a 9 out of 10. Next was a doctor skit about this guy who has body modification, like the horns implant and stuff like that. And a whole bunch, they talk about some other things he had and stuff. And he wanted them removed. And then his wife came in, and they were talking about it. And then the doctor was played once again by John Mulaney. And at that point, you realize that John Mulaney has no range whatsoever as an actor. He's like a one-trick pony. I guess Paul Simon did a movie called One Trick Pony. I've never seen it, though. But whenever I hear one-trick pony, I think of that. I don't know if One Trick Pony, the Paul Simon movie, is any good or not. But, it was just pointless. That was a 1 out of 10. Next, Jack White came back with a slower song. It was still really good. I give it an 8 out of 10. And the last thing was a commercial for Bravo, and it was a reality TV show spoof. It was just intros to the reality stars or something like that, and that was lame. That was real lame. I give that a 1 out of 10, and then that was the end of the show. And the only thing that was left was him coming back, and he thanked, Jack White, almost said Jack Black, Jack White, and of course, Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro. And then he said the writers, carpenters, and everything like that. He was going to give a good, interesting thank you to everybody behind the scenes, and then they cut him off, and that was the end of the show. All in all, it was lame. It was really lame. There were only a couple standouts. I give this episode a very 4 out of 10. It was lucky they had a good musical guest on there, or else they probably would have gotten a 3 out of 10, because you can't really have so much stuff that was lame and only a few good skits. So I hope you like this Saturday Night Live review of John Mulaney, host of Saturday Night Live. So hope you like this. Just premiered on NBC. Thank you for watching, and as always, everybody, please take care of my Legion. All right.